When it comes to starting a new business, everybody wants to be the face of their newfound company. Whether it's Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, or Mark Zuckerberg, every company has a face that you associate with their brand, right? Well, our guest today is going to tell you why that can actually be a bad thing. She'll also tell you why you need to showcase the rest of your team if you want to scale and grow, as well as why your employees should never be comfortable. Stay tuned. Part 1 is just around the corner.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy.
Today's guest is Amanda Creger, Director of Strategy at Modo Modo Agency. Amanda specializes in working with clients on their digital marketing needs. She has spent over 15 years in the trenches helping clients with branding, product launches, and company positioning. If you're looking to further establish your brand, or just want some tips, tricks, and tools on digital marketing techniques, then you will not want to miss what Amanda has to say.
Amanda, thank you very much for joining us today. The audience is going to get a special look today because normally we have CEOs, we've got founders, and today we have the Director of Strategy for Modo Modo. And what's interesting is we were talking before we went on air here, we're going to get a chance to see behind the scenes what it's like to work in a very fast-paced environment, working for an entrepreneur, and some of the things that our employees go through on being on the other side. So I'm kind of looking forward to this because I know a lot of the things that you're going to mention I'm probably guilty of. So I'm looking forward. Amanda, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So bring us up to speed. You've been there for 8 years. It's a 10-year-old company.
Correct.
What are some of the changes that you've seen over the 10 years or the 8 years?
Sure. Wow. Well, there have been quite a few. When I started 8 years ago, we were roughly around 6 people. We've grown to, I think, a little over 20 people today. So what that looks like from a 6-person company where we could all essentially huddle in a room together versus a 20-person company where we're fighting over space. That it looks very, very different in how we work together, how we have to think about processes around the agency, how we serve our clients and the touch points that they have. It all starts to change quite a bit. And we're actually at a very interesting point right now where I think right around that 20-person mark where you have to be a very different kind of organization to grow to that next level. So we're in an active state right now of trying to envision what that looks like for us and how we get from where we are today to that next level.
You know, it's interesting because I work with entrepreneurs and generally I work with clients from 2 million up to about 50 million. We have clients in excess of 100 million, but in that range, some people, we get calls all the time from entrepreneurs that are doing $1 million in business and they're trying to get to the next level. And so often it's the owner show, right? It's all about the owner and it's about them. They've created this business and it's so difficult to make that leap from that 850 to 1 million range until you get to the next step where it's not all about what the owner does, but what the team does. So what did you see during that period? How did the transition happen? Because you guys made the Inc. 5000 list this year. You're up to 2.4 million in revenue as of 2016. What did you see? Because you were probably right at that stage when the company was doing 800, 1 million, 1 million, somewhere in that range. What happened?
Yep. Well, we saw something really interesting. I would say it was probably about 1.5 to 2 years ago where we realized we were kind of hitting a pinch point in our ability to scale, something that maybe we all kind of sensed a bit, but it was pointed out to us in black and white. We had a partner of ours go out and do some research with current and past clients just to understand how we were perceived, what clients valued about us, how they saw us being different from competitors out there, and just kind of what the overall experience was like. And they came back with the resounding feedback that our clients attributed the success of their projects and initiatives pretty directly with our CEO. And it was happening in a lot of instances where she had had little to no involvement directly in that initiative. And so it really made us all face the fact that we had helped contribute to this sense of the Moira show, Moira being our CEO. She's out there being the main person doing our business development, and she's very plugged in the community. And as much as that was a great thing in terms of bringing in that initial visibility, we as a team behind her were not standing ourselves up enough to, I guess you could say, stand alongside her. And so again, it had become the Moira show. And so anytime she wasn't involved in something, a client was like, well, has Moira seen this? Is Moira aware? And there was kind of this dependency on her where when they didn't know any better, they were super confident, in what we were delivering and really happy with things, and none the wiser. So we realized that if we were ever going to continue to grow and scale, that we really had to get beyond that and showcase the thinking and the capabilities and the leadership that the rest of the team possessed as well.
So how was that done, and what was her reaction to it?
It was something that we all sensed, but nobody had really directly addressed it. It was just kind of, maybe this thing kind of floating off to the side. And I think she was a little bit surprised still to see it so explicitly coming back and so consistently coming back in feedback. And that was really her time to start pushing on all of us. She's always had a philosophy that I'm not going to step back in order to allow you guys space. You have to step forward and push me out. And that moment was one where I think she realized that was not enough for all of us, that she had to be really kind of aggressive and push us even more to say, no, you have to do these things. These are part of your responsibility here too. Here's how you contribute to our success. So it's looked different depending on who the employee is, or where we are in our own career development and experience level, but it can be things as simple as making sure that some of our more junior team members are heard and seen in meetings. Sometimes, those of us who are a little more senior have a tendency to come in and kind of crowd the room. And we've had to consciously step back a little bit and say, no, you're going to lead this discussion, and you need to ask these questions, and you need to have this conversation, and you need to contribute your thoughts. And that means for us too, directly being a more aggressive part of all of that, not just directly with our clients, but also out in the community, doing speaking events, being involved in organizations, volunteering our time, sitting on boards. So we're all at different stages of that, but we're all actively in pursuit of creating more visible leadership roles for ourselves. Again, not just with clients, but also in the community.
Yeah, what I liked what you said there is, she said, "Look, I'm not going to back down. You got to push me out of the way," which is great leadership. And I love the fact that you went back to your customers and you asked the questions. I'm always yelling at people that they come to me and they're like, well, what do you think my customer wants? I don't know. Why don't you and I figure that out and talk about it and waste 2 hours, thinking about that? Why don't you call them?
Yeah.
Well, all right, I'll send them an email. I said, no, call them. Have a conversation. There's so much that you can learn as long as you give the client the space and the ability to tell the truth, because so often, what do they want to say? Oh yeah, everything's great. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I love Barbara. She's great. She's, but back, if they really told the truth, it's like, hey, I want the leader. And that happens in so many businesses. So what's it like working for a very strong female entrepreneur?
It is highly rewarding, sometimes terrifying. It's really, I've had to get comfortable with a lot of change and with constantly being pushed beyond my own perception of what I can do or where I think I fit. It's been nothing but challenge for the last 8 years in a healthy way, in a really good way. And it's actually something that we're trying to groom our younger team members to understand as well. I actually made the comment to them the other day that you will never, ever stop being challenged here. And if you are, you're in the wrong role, and we need to talk about it, because we expect everybody to continue pushing. You never get to a place where you're just kind of, sitting back and saying, okay, I got this. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm an expert at it all. No, okay, now you're ready for the next level. So, like I said, that can be a terrifying journey for someone like me who tends to like to play it a little bit safer and wants to know what's in front of me and wants to understand the way forward. We're really encouraged to kind of make the way forward and create that roadmap for ourselves and to push forward. Especially for me, one of the things that my boss and I have had a lot of conversations about over the years is getting comfortable moving forward without all of the facts every time. I'm the kind of person that, I want 90% confidence level or greater. I want all of the information I can possibly get my hands on. And it's something that over the years, she's, kind of pushed me to where I'm getting to this point where maybe now I only need 50% of the information before I'm willing to, go out and take a step forward and say, here's how we do it. Here's the path.
Yeah, as a business leader for the last 18 years, whenever I had a team and a team member that I knew was capable of more, I was all over them. And I pushed them hard, pushed them really hard. And the ones that kind of, stood out or sat in the corner and just kind of, pulled back, if you're not being challenged by your boss and that's their type of personality, they're sending you a message. The message is you're not someone that they're trying to groom. Get in the mix of things. I've shared on this podcast many times that I worked for a guy in New York where literally I got struck. He hit me 3 times, not in the face. He didn't punch me in the face, but he hit me really hard in the arm and the leg. Now, once I really deserved it, I can't say on the air what I did. I knew what buttons to push. But we were constantly going after it. He fired me, 2 or 3 times at least. And I was like, look, I'm not going anywhere. He's like, you're fired. You're not employed anymore. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I'm working here for free now. So we got more stuff to do. And he's like, man, you just pissed me off. He goes, I just fired you. No one even leave. I was like, look, you'll get over it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's funny. Even when this opportunity came up, just to speak with you today, my knee-jerk reaction was to push this to Moira, to our CEO, and I said, I had to take a step back and say, no, damn it, you've been a part of this organization for 8 years, 8 out of its 10 years. You've absolutely contributed to the position that you're now on in the Inc. 5000 list and the other successes that you've had. You've been a part of that, and you have something valuable to say. But it's funny. I think especially as females, we have a tendency to defer and to kind of underestimate our value, and it can be hard. But it's really important to call yourself on it and say, no, damn it, I have a role, I have a place in this, and I'm important, and I have insights, and I should be heard.
And you're going out to 120 countries, and who knows who's going to be listening. The boss is definitely going. The boss is definitely going to check in. Let me see what she said about the company.
Yeah. Amanda, you're fired. No, I'm just kidding.
If that happens, we'll have you back on for another show. So Amanda, who used to be employed at Modo Modo,
exactly,
is now looking for a job, folks. We won't let that happen. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is? Send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.
Be on the lookout for part 2 of our conversation with Amanda, where she tells us how to figure out what clients actually want, in addition to how to let them know when they have a bad idea. I'll see you guys on another edition of Peak Performers Podcast.